Aloha and welcome to Capital Connection with your host, Senator Angus McKelvey. I'm your moderator, Tom Blackburn Rodriguez. Our guests today are Lisa Labrecque, CEO of the Maui Humane Society, to update us on the Society's efforts to save animals in the Lahaina fire area, and former Maui County Council member Joanne to talk about the role of a regional hospital in an emergency such as Lahaina wildfire. And now, your host of Capital Connection, Senator Angus McKelvey.
Aloha, everybody. Thank you, Tom, for moderating for us again, and appreciate you everybody being here for our show this week. And especially a big mahalo to our guests for coming in and talking about their experiences, observations, and ideas based upon the fire disaster.
We'll be having Lisa call in just a couple of minutes, Senator. Is there anything you want to just let us know before we move into that interview?
There's a lot, obviously, happening every day is a new development. To say the situation is fluid would be an understatement of the millennium. The latest thing we're working on is we're trying to work on getting mortgage abatement and rent relief abatement. The judiciary has issued a decree like they did during COVID against any judicial rent eviction notices. So that is good news. However, more needs to be done, especially in the area of mortgages, because a lot of landlords who rent long-term rely on that rent for the mortgages. And if they can't pay the mortgage, then unfortunately they'll lose the house and everybody loses. So this is something that's critically important. I've even mentioned to the federal government guys trying to get at least Congress to the Treasury to talk to the banks and other agencies on what could be done on that level for those notes over there.
So they would have forbearance and not have to pay until they got back on their feet or a certain amount of time had passed.
Yes, exactly. And here's the thing: there's people who didn't, who have homes on the other side of the island, right? But these homes, they had jobs on the west side, and their jobs are gone, and so now their houses are in danger of being foreclosed on. So it's a ripple effect that goes far beyond the original impact zone of Ground Zero in Lahaina.
I can understand. Now, there's been a lot of talk now about going in and taking out hazardous materials as well. They're starting that up. Have you been following that hazardous material release?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up there a little bit. What was that?
The other issue right now is removal of debris with hazardous materials.
Yes.
So what's happening on that? Are people
this is a situation we're trying to get as much of this planning and discussions to us as possible. It seems to be the loop of information that doesn't get back to the community. But this is an important thing. How are we going to remove it? Where it's going to go? Will it be by barge? Will it be by barge and truck? Will it be by truck? How many trucks will it take? Will there be special types of packing and transportation needed? Will there be secure areas needed? Can we use Lahaina Harbor potentially as a way to barge the hazardous waste off for re-storage or shipment to elsewhere? And the name that's been mentioned has been Australia, as far as having suitable locations for this kind of hazardous waste, but having a place to send the waste and a contract to do so obviously important, as well as the specifics behind it. But I envision, given how big it is and how much toxic waste that there is, this is going to be quite a huge, substantial undertaking of a proportion I don't think anybody in Hawaii's ever seen before.
Well, let's continue to watch that, Senator. And while we're following those issues, we would want to let you know that Lisa has called in from the Maui Humane Society and is on the line now for her interview.
Okay. Aloha, Lisa.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us again today. We appreciate you being on before and touching upon the challenges that the Humane Society was working with. Now that we are at this stage now, past the fire, what remains, I guess, what are still the outstanding critical issues that the Humane Society is dealing with, and maybe what issues have you seen some progress on that when we discussed the first time was a challenge to the Society and its volunteers?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me back. As you may have heard, on Saturday, we finally were given access to the burn area in Lahaina. So that changed our mission for sure. And so we currently have 2 teams deployed in there. One is a field services team led by Eric Thompson. He's the executive director of animal incident management and was here the first 2 weeks leading